Part of the book. Right on your sheet. It's talking about the title. Anybody remember what it said about the title? The name of the book. Okay, there you know right there. That's right there. Name of the book. Title is the name of the book. I see you already got started. That's good. Anybody remember what they talked about the author? The person who wrote the book. There's the next one. The author, the person who writes the book. Did you hear when they talk about the publisher? Yeah, or the company who prints the book. The publisher, the company who prints the book. Anybody here, they talk about the illustrator? The person who draws the picture, correct. Y'all are listening, great job. The person who draws the picture for the book. Now these next few terms we didn't get to, but in that it talks about the preface. The preface is the introduction to the book. The preface is the very first page when you open the book. It's the introduction to the book. Table of contents. Anybody know what table of contents is? Yes, that's correct. Great job. The list of chapters with their page. The appendix. Anybody know what the appendix is? It's the extra information. Come on. Yeah, it can be worked the way it's more towards the end of the book. It's almost just like what is in the front, also in the back. Okay, the glossary. You better know the glossary. The glossary.
The meaning of the word.
The glossary, the meaning of the word. And usually you can find that at the back of the book. The index. The index. After the alphabetical list of topics and the page number placed at the very end of the book. The index. Okay, what about the text? The text. That's the main part of the book written by the author. Write that down. The text is the main part written by the author. Okay, anybody know the title page? What's the title page? That's correct. The front of the book will tell the title, it has the author, it has the illustrator, and it has the publisher. It's all on the front of the book. Front of the book. The bibliography usually is at the back, and it shows the list of other books to read. Usually when you read a book, one book, you can find out information from another book which has some of the same information. So what they'll do is they'll take that book for you to further your resource or further to learn more about what you're reading about. All right. And what we're talking about today, parts of what? Parts of a book. Now, I want everybody to take their sheet and turn it over. Turn it over. The text was the main part of the book written by the author. The text. This is what the author wants us to learn about. This is what the author wants us to see and show while we're reading whatever book that we're reading. All right. Now, bibliography. There's one last on that second page. There's one last word, and that's your bibliography page. Your bibliography page is the list of other books to read, and that's on that back sheet. The list of other books to read is your bibliography page. It's the page that shows exactly that book, and it's another book or some other resource or some other information that is tied or connected to the book that you're reading. So a lot of times the book that we read, there's usually another book that's similar or have some of the same information. For example, if we have a book that's talking about Martin Luther King, well, there may be another book that's talking about civil rights. And of course, we know that Martin Luther King was connected to civil rights. So some of that same information that's in that Dr. King book may be some of the same information in that civil rights book. So it just bibliography, just other information in another book tied to the one that's already being written. All right, everybody hold their book up that you have with you. What's this called? What's the front of this called?
I mean the title,
the cover. What's on the cover? What else? Illustrator. Thank you. That's it. What about this? What's this?
The back story.
Back cover. That's correct. That's correct. Now, you open the book. Title page. Good job. What about this here?
Table of contents.
Table of contents. What about all this stuff? These are just what? Text. There you go. Text, pages. And what's usually on pages? Words and what else? Very important. And what else? I got my number that tells us the next page we're on. You know how sometimes we pick up a book, read, and then we come back to it later, and we say, well, I stopped at page 19 or I stopped at page 20. Okay, what about if we start moving towards the back and we see words and definitions? What is that? Glossary. Okay. What about, what's another thing that we have in the back book along with the glossary? The index. That's correct. The index. Also, last page. Say it again. Bibliography. Right. It has other resources that's connected to the page. All right, your sheet that you have. I want to test your knowledge a little bit. The sheet that you have, flip it over. All right. Who all didn't get one? Cards of a book. Wait a minute. Don't start. I want to test your knowledge. Parts of a book. What are we talking about again?
Parts of a book.
Parts of a book. And you remember now when you get ready to go to high school, you're gonna have to sometimes in your classes like English, science, math, history, you're gonna be writing essays. Your teacher's gonna have you doing assignments where you're writing essays, and sometimes you are going to have to get a book, whatever that lesson being taught. It could be a lesson on the American Revolution or a lesson on civil rights. And you're going to have to know the title. You're going to give credit to the title, the author, the glossary, the index. Everything in that book going to be of some importance for you to find information. And that's just like when you come in the library. Same thing. If there's a certain book that you're looking for, one good note to have is know the author, maybe some key terms. If you're looking at a book, just for example, well, I want to read SpongeBob. Well, we know that SpongeBob had a lot of books that were written about him, and the same books that you read about him is some of the same things that we watch on television. So it ain't just be one Sponge book. There's titles that go to it. SpongeBob went to Hawaii, or SpongeBob went on vacation at, I don't know, Go Island, something. Just saying, these are just an example that we use. So we have to know what particular book that we're looking for. For a few minutes, test your knowledge. You can start. Sheet that says big fat pumpkin. Find out who the author is, the illustrator is, the front cover, the ISBN number, because there's a number that's connected to every book, the pages, the title, the back cover. Take a few minutes to fill that out. Label your parts. And when you finish, put your color down and show me that you finished. What is this part?
Spine.
Anybody just find out anything different? What about this?
Back home.
What about this?
ISBN.
Anybody know what that number means? Barcode. Exactly, it's the barcode. So when you come into the media center and you see me pick up the gun, I call it, scan it, it scans the barcode. And it lets me know that this is the book you're checking out and ties the book to your name. And therefore, that's what you're reading. So always remember that number is very important. But without a barcode, we don't know what's being put into the system. So all books have some kind of code that ties to the book. Okay, what about the back of the book? What we call that?
Back cover.
Back cover. Okay, what about the inside?
Page.
This page. Okay. What about, it says my big fat punk.
Title.
That's the title. Okay, what about that big old picture that's under the title?
Illustration.
Illustration. What about the person who wrote the book? Who is that?
Author.
Okay. And the picture that's in the book, illustration, who is that? I mean, illustrations. Who would say the illustrator is? Hannah Young. That's correct. What about if somebody came to you and said, this is self-correct? What if somebody said that this is the back cover? How would you correct it?
It's the front cover.
And explain to them what? How?
And the title don't have them.
That's correct. That's correct. You always know the front has the title. The back has no title. What about if if you needed to look for some definitions? And what would that be called? The glossary. That's correct. The glossary. What about if there was other information that I needed to further as I was reading the book and I wanted to learn some other stuff? Then what page would that be? Right. That's it. And it, like I said, it has other resources and other books to show or give me further insight, or maybe something I'm trying to look up, or something that I'm trying to review, or something I'm trying to do. So those are the parts of the book. And it's very important that you know that as you get ready to go to high school, you're gonna have to know that stuff when you come into the media center over there, and your teacher give you an assignment, and your assignment is to, I don't know, look up the Revolutionary War. And there's another thing tied to that. We don't see it a lot, but there's something called a card catalog. And most big media centers, most libraries have those things. And what the card catalog is, it's just a organization of the books. It's on a card, so to speak. It has the author, that same thing, the author, the title, the illustration, the illustrator. And what that is, the librarian goes to that card catalog. Most of the time it's either in a room, or most of the time it's either sitting near a shelf of books, and they go to that and they pull it out. And if you come in and you're saying, well, I need to have a book on Rosa Parks and I cannot find it, that's what a card catalog does. You pull that thing out, they pull the card out, it has the exact book that you want, it has those numbers, there's some numbers, some labels on it, and it has that number, and it's tied to wherever it is in the library. Most of your bigger libraries, they have card catalogs, more of your big ones. And that's easy to find books that way. It's very easy to find books. So a lot of times we come to the media center here, and we say, well, I need to find this card, I need to find, and most of the time we can just scan it and find it out, or go to AR Book Finder, and then it'll tell us the point value. And that's really our system. That's what we use. We use AR Book Finder. But when you go to your bigger libraries, especially in the community or at a college, they usually have a card catalog where you can just go in, ask for a book, and they can pull that slide out. And I can show you too for it. They can pull that slide out and they can show you exactly what book, and they can go right to it, just like that. And it's very neat and it's very organized. Any questions so far? What are we talking about today?
Parts of a book.
Parts of a book. Now, with the card catalog system, it's so much simpler. It's so much simpler to use. Because it's when you're trying to find information, when you're trying to locate information, when you're really trying to get exactly what you want. Everybody can look up there up on this screen. That's what a card catalog looks like in a library. And most of the time, it's in your large library, like in your community, like in your at a college. That's what they use to find books. It's an easy way of finding books. And it has every book in the library, every single book. So you don't have to struggle to try to find it. And I use it a lot when I'm visiting other libraries and I need to go find a certain book for a certain class or trying to find research. I'll go to that library and I'll ask them and they'll just walk me to that card catalog system. They'll pull the card out for whatever book I'm trying to find. They'll tell me where it's at. Each time they'll take me to it. And it's most of the time, 95 to 99% of the time, it's in the spot. And it's just like that. The same books that they were trying to find is in the catalog, just like that. A through Z. A through Z. Any other questions? So what are we talking about today?
Parts of a book.
Parts of a book. Yes, ma'am.
A card catalog, how many are there in like one library?
Most of the time, it's just one. In the physical term, it's just one big, just imagine a cabinet. And you got a lot of drawers in that cabinet. A, B, C, D, F, G, all the way through, A through Z. And through all those, you have all the A books, all the B books, all the C books. Yes, sir.
So it depends on how many pages.
No, it don't depend, 'cause I mean, they're huge. I mean, you just imagine all the books that start with A, all the books that start with D or circulatory system, or the letter C, or the letter S. All those books are in that card catalog system. And it's just so much easier. It's just very easy to retrieve information that way. Now, some schools are not fortunate to have, some schools have it, and then they may have had it at one point and don't have it now, because like I said, now, when you come to the media center, basically you can just say Mr. Bolden or Mr. Hawkins or whoever's in there, or whoever the librarian is, and you can just ask them what book or I'm trying to find, and then they can go on the website. You got a lot of this stuff is older. It's an older system. It's a good system, but a lot of people are now not using that system anymore. They can just go online and find the book that way. If they have it in the media center, they can just look it up online, look at the ISBN number, or find it through, as we use, the point number or by color, and then we can just go find it on the shelf. The red dot, the white dot, the black dot. That's how books are labeled in more school settings. But when, like I said, when you use more of a community setting or use a college setting, 9 times out of 10 they'll have the card catalog. You just sometimes if you ever go in a public library, just go ask them for a certain book. Look up a certain book and ask them can they show you the card catalog system, and they'll show you exactly where their card is located. So that's how we use systems. That's how we use our books. That's how we retrieve information. That's how we find out research and what we're trying to find. Any other questions?
But a lot of people these days, they use computers to look up their the books. But if I would could choose over technology or that, I would pick that.
That's the card catalog system. And most times that's really what people use, because they already have the books in place. They already have them by number, by organization, by letter, whatever that book falls upon, whether it's A, B, C, D, and on to Z. And usually the time they go and they just pull it out. I'm looking for a book on animals, apples. They go to that card catalog system, pull it out, pull the card out, apples. And they take you to wherever that book is located. A lot of times that happens, book probably checked out, if And see, they usually have people in place in your larger library. So therefore, if that book is checked out, then they can go to their computer, of course. It's like when y'all come in and somebody and I scan a book or you looking for a certain book and they can't find it. 9 times out of 10, somebody probably checked it out. And you know the system, it'll show up in the system because each library has a system. Each library has a system. Y'all familiar with Renaissance? You familiar? That's how you take your AR test.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you take That's how you take your AR test. Exactly. So you're familiar more with that system, but there's a lot of other systems. Every school or every library has their own system that they work through. There are different kind of programs. Evolution, that's another program. Evolve, that's another program that works through library systems to have their books in place. So we use the Renaissance system, and it has all the books that we have, and then those books are inventoried in. They're scanned in when they come in the box, and I take them out of the box, and then I go to that computer and I log into Renaissance and I log into AR Book Finder and I type in the book, and then I take that scanning gun and I do, and there it is. It comes up, and then we label it. We label it, or whatever the point value is of that book. And we put that black dot or that red dot, and it just tells us exactly what point value that book is. And then we put it on the shelf. And that's it. Any other questions? Last question.
When people have catalogs, how did they take tests on books?
Say that again.
When people had, in the older days, and when people had catalogs, how did they take tests on the books?
Well, it depends on what age we're talking about. Because we hadn't always had accelerated reading. It hadn't always been, we hadn't always took AR tests. That came in these later years, you know, mid-90s. Even though they had certain systems in place, but they wasn't always taking AR tests. You know, they was just taking general knowledge in classroom. You know, you come in and read a book. I say, hey, get your sheet out, label 1, 2, 3, 1 through 5. And then I get in that book and I say, let's see. All body parts are made of what? Cells. That's how knowledge was tested. So it wasn't you get on the computer, you put your name in, your password in, and you take your test. None of that was going on at that time. Back in, I say, heyday. But now we live in a day now, in these times where we have these systems in place, where you can read your knowledge and then there's something to test your knowledge, and then you're able to gain points and learn and be rewarded 2 ways. You gain knowledge, and you also gain AR points. Yes, sir. Exactly. He said if you wasn't we were to take the test on paper, the teacher would have to grade it. Yes, it will be the same way. Just like I asked you to, like when I gave you the definition, then you took this and you labeled these parts were empty, you were able to put exactly the word that went to whatever, the illustrator, the author, the back cover, front cover. Any other question?